Okay, so now question 3. Again, 2 hints. I'll leave a little gap between them. First thing I'm going to do is draw a triangle. Now, I'm going to make it a little bit too obvious by drawing the picture I'm drawing, but it'll help us in a minute. Now, there is a triangle PQR. I'm going to draw a different triangle PQR. It could be either of these, but we're given an extra piece of information, which is the median from P. So the median, which is the one that connects the vertex to the middle of the opposite side, is exactly the same. So I'll draw this median in as well. It's exactly the same as the altitude. Well, that's the line that meets QR at right angles. Now that gives us a bit of extra information. Now I'll draw another few triangles PQR, and we'll see what that piece of information is giving us. So if this is P, well, there's my median, and there's my altitude. So here, they're not the same. I could draw loads of triangles here, so if I draw another triangle, and this is P, then there's my altitude, there's my median, they're not the same. So we've got to think, what's happening here if these two line up? Well, this line here is being cut exactly in half. So those two bits are the same length, because it's the median meets at the middle of the line. In fact, this is coming down exactly at right angles. It's telling us that this triangle and this triangle are right angle triangles, so these two must be exactly the same because they share this side. So these two lengths here must be the same. So actually, if I turn it round, it might be a bit more obvious, but we can see we have an isosceles triangle where P is the kind of top point in that triangle, and QR is the base of that triangle. So that gives us a bit of a clue about the triangle. So the first hint is that this is an isosceles triangle. You still need to think how you're going to find the area of this isosceles triangle. That will be hint number 2. I'll give you a little bit more detail on that. But have a think before you move on to hint number 2. Okay, so hint number 2. I've lost my piece of paper. Hint number 2. Where's my piece of paper? There we go. Hint number 2. Now we have just said that PQR has top point there is an isosceles triangle. That means that this line here, the altitude, tells us something that we need to know if we want to find the area, which is the height of the triangle, which is at right angles to the base. So if we can find this length here and this length here, we could find the area of the triangle because it's a half of the base times the perpendicular height. Now, that means step 1 is find length QR. So that's your first step, is to find the length of the base of our triangle. Step 2, well, we need to know the height, but we can't find the length P to there because we don't know where there is. So the next step is to find that point. Because it's isosceles, that's the midpoint. So find the midpoint of QR. Step 3, once we know the midpoint, we can now find that length. So I'm going to call the midpoint M. So find length PM. Step 4. So now we know the length of the base, length of the height, half times base times height. So in detail, that's going to be half times the length of QR times the length of PM. And that will give us the area of our triangle. So it's quite a bit to do here, but once you've had that little bit of realization about what kind of triangle, these are now down to skills that you've been practicing over the last couple of lessons. Hopefully, that gives you enough to have a go and get started on these. And if you want to have a go at the trickier question at the end, there will be a hint video for that as well.